Welcome to the Saturday in Athens podcast. I'm your host, Seth Saunders, joined as always by my co-host, James Kim. Good Friday morning, brother. It is a beautiful day to be alive, and the Dogs have a monster matchup tomorrow night under the lights between the hedges.
Yeah, backs against the wall, season's on the line. I mean, they've been here before. It's usually in the SEC championship game, but, here we are. Middle of November. Still hate that we play Tennessee middle of November, but it's a monster matchup, and it's do or die. They lose, no playoffs.
Yeah, do or die. You lose and go home. It's, man, they got to figure it out. Been an interesting team all year, obviously. I think we've talked about this offline, and, I think this is – they got to find an identity. This is the week you got to figure it out, right? Who are we? What are we going to be? What are we going to hang our hat on? And how do you go out and get a win when you absolutely have to have it? And look, man, no rest for the weary, right? They're going to be super light in the running back room. SEC injury reports came out last night, and Travis Etienne was downgraded to out. So, look, man, that running back room is super thin. And so now, for me, this has become the Nate Frazier game. Nate Frazier is going to be the guy, and he is going to have to step up, and he is going to have to – he's going to have to carry the load. And so the question is going to be, can he do that? I think talent-wise, it's going to be zero issue, but it's more about whether or not ball security. That's been the only bugaboo, I think, with him thus far. And so, we've talked about the protection stuff too, but they don't have any choice. I'm a little curious to see if maybe they use Dylan Bell in that role a little bit and try to get him involved just because he has that ability. But, homie, they are super light in that running back room. I mean, Cass Jones is listed as questionable, but the reports have said that, people have been posting that he was seen walking with a walking boot earlier in the week. So I don't know. I thought the Georgia football account posted a picture of him yesterday practicing, so that's a good sign. Obviously, I would rather have Nate and Cash than just Nate, but I don't know, man. It's not the best news from a personnel perspective.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, let's be realistic, though. We really haven't had, Trevor the last two games. We really haven't. He tried to gut it out, but he hasn't really played the last two games. He's been there, but he hasn't been there. So I think we're going to see a lot of Cash if he can go, but if Cash can't go, I think we're going to see a little bit more of the other two true freshmen. I mean, realistically, we only have 3 healthy scholarship running backs, and they're all true freshmen. So they're going to have to get some run. Regardless of what we want and what Kirby wants, this is it. We don't have a choice at this point. They keep saying that is it Bowens or Phillips, the one that scored the touchdown last against Florida? The jet sweep. Phillips. Yeah. They keep saying that, he's more of like that type of running back, more of a change of pace. Bowens got banged up. He got some run in the first game of the season, I think, against Clemson. He's been banged up, but they say he's healthy now. So I'm hoping that we'll see some more of that. It's just, we got to, unload the chamber, so to speak. We can't hold anything back. Just if healthy bodies got to play. So I know Bell doesn't want to play running back, but at this point, it doesn't matter what you want to do. We need to win the game.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to mix some stuff in with him just because – he's one of their better talents. And so they got to figure out ways to get the ball in his hands. It's going to be interesting. That has become a fascinating storyline. Obviously, on the Tennessee side, Nico Iamaleava's health is of premier importance for their side. I know that Chris Felica had gone on a couple different podcasts earlier this week and talked about how his sources have been telling him that Nico was not going to play. Chris Lowe, I think, tweeted or either got interviewed last night and said he's being told that he is going to play. So, obviously, I think when it's concussion protocol, it's hard to tell. So we'll see. I mean, I think that's a big deal for them. Obviously, Look, I don't think Nico has been what that fan base probably thought he was going to be from a dynamic perspective. He's missed some throws and all those things, but he is undoubtedly their best option at quarterback. And so him playing versus not playing is a big deal for their offense, because I do think that if he doesn't play, man, it really changes, I think, what the Georgia defense has to defend against, because you go from having a guy who's a weapon there to a guy who is essentially there to not make a mistake, right? And so that's a huge difference, I think, from a game planning perspective, especially with a defense that has had problems in the secondary. So we'll see, man. A lot of variables in play. I mean, obviously this time of year, nobody's healthy. And so this is part of it. And you got to man up, next man up, and rock and roll. And so that's going to be, I think, the charter for both of these teams, regardless of who ends up playing, is next man up. And I would say from a weight perspective, this game is obviously much more important to Georgia than it is to Tennessee. And look, obviously it is important to Tennessee, but realistically, Tennessee can lose this game and they've still got a pathway to the playoff. Whereas if Georgia loses, it's over. They're out.
Yeah.
Now you could make the argument, I guess, that if Tennessee loses and they're sitting there at 10-2 with their losses to Arkansas and to Georgia, how does that look? But I still think they've probably got a path, even though their strength of schedule is not awesome. And I think with the win over Alabama, that's probably enough. If they go 10-2, I don't know. Their defense has been so good. I think that's probably part of it. Look, we texted about the ranking stuff, man. That it's kind of crazy. I guess it is and it isn't. It's not if you've been paying attention for a long time and kind of understand that, dude, is the committee actually like competent to do this job? I mean, it just seems crazy to me that they keep making these choices where you're kind of like, what's happening, man? Like, okay, I'm going to give you a couple examples that are both Georgia biased, but let's talk about last year where they're undefeated. Everybody's pretty much in agreement they're the best team in college football all season long. They play a conference championship game, which is a bonus game, and they lose a tight ball game, and they drop from number 1 in the country to number 6. Like, how does that happen, right? If it's really about best 4 teams, totality of the circumstances, all those things. And the short answer is because that's not what it's about. It's just about the whims of the committee. And I don't think it's much different this year, man. Like, if you talk about data and a quality of schedule and all these things, you can't drop Georgia to 13th or 12th. I mean, technically 12th, but 13th in the playoff picture, given what their resume is versus what they've had to play and then what the rest of the country has had to play. Now, look, I think you're in the same boat I am. I'm Al Davis, okay? Just win, baby. Like, you take care of your own business and you don't have to worry about any of that, okay? But we're not looking at equal pictures here. Like, these aren't all apples to apples comparisons. Georgia has the number 1 strength of schedule in America and have played 3 road games that nobody else in the country has played. And so, yeah, they went 1-2 in those games, but one of those wins was on the home field of the number 1 team in the country that was undefeated, and it was not close. So does that just not count? Like, I don't know, man. I feel like, too, they've said, well, Ohio State's only loss is to Oregon. It's like, whoa, so their loss, pretty, quote unquote, pretty loss matters, but Georgia's 2 losses don't matter. I don't know, man. It's all just. And here's the other question I have, okay? And they say, well, we don't look at it this way, we don't evaluate this. But you telling me Georgia's not going to beat Penn State on a neutral field? Come on.
I have so many issues with the committee, and I'm going to take my Georgia glasses off for a second, okay? And I want to talk about just the Big Ten. So
yeah, let's rip on that.
So let's just talk about the Big Ten. Let's talk about Penn State. They have no quality wins. They have 1 quote-unquote good loss. But I would compare that loss at home to Georgia's loss to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Great
comparison.
Those losses to me are very comparable.
Yeah, and tell me. Let's see if we're on the same train of thought here. What's the commonality between those two losses with the two losing teams?
No offense.
No offense. Exactly.
No offense.
Yep.
And really, after the first quarter, not competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was,
yeah.
Like, I don't feel like that game, either of those games was ever in doubt, even when Georgia was up and when Penn State was up. But after the first quarter, not competitive.
Yeah. Yep.
So, those losses to me are very comparable. So, really, at this point, you're looking at Penn State with one loss, Georgia with two losses. Those losses are a wash. So you've got Penn State with no quality wins, Georgia with one additional loss, Georgia with the one quality win at this point.
I still, at this point, and this could change, Clemson neutral site win, given the score margin, to me is still a quality win.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, two quality wins. Two. I'm going based off the committee rankings. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just the committee rankings. So two quality wins at this point. Penn State, no quality wins. So that makes no sense to me. How that there. So then you've got Ohio State's only quality win is Penn State.
Right.
Who has no quality wins. They have a quality loss, which I agree with. I agree with the quality loss for Ohio State. I get that. But their only quality win, they're justifying their place based off of a quality loss and a quality win of a team that has no quality wins.
Which, dude, I'm so glad you bring this up. I feel like we have this conversation every year. Every year, Penn State becomes this
prop.
They're a prop. That's a great word. That's what they are. They're a prop. They're a Big Ten prop. We're told all year that Penn State's a top 10 team. And so when Ohio State and or Michigan, whoever the Big Ten leader is, beats Penn State, that's a great win. And I'm like, is it though? Like, I feel like you and I have been having this same conversation for 3 or 4 years. Why do we all just keep agreeing that Penn State is a quality win when they have not had a competent offense in, God, dude, since Kerry Collins?
It feels like it.
I'm joking. That's our
childhood.
That was a ricochet shot. But I mean, dude, it's bananas to me that we keep getting sold this bill of goods that's a quality win. It's not, man. And here's the thing, dude. This is what I feel like I'm on crazy pills. Penn State's in, homie. They are in. There's no loss left in their schedule. They are in the playoffs. Like, homie, to the point where they have already emailed their season ticket holders to reserve tickets for their home playoff game.
Yep.
It's crazy. And yeah, man, I don't know. I get it, man. It's brand and all this stuff. The flip side of that argument, okay, which if I was an Indiana fan, this would piss me off. If Indiana was wearing Penn State's uniform, where would Indiana be ranked in the CFP playoff rankings?
I think they'd probably be. I think they'd be above Ohio State.
Top 2. Yeah, I don't even think it's a question. They're top 2. And so, if I was an Indiana fan, that would fire me up. Let me ask you this, because I am interested in this, because people have talked about the strength of schedule metrics, and admittedly, Indiana also has not really played anybody of note, right? They don't have a big win per se, but they've won all their games, and for the most part, outside of the Michigan game, dude, they've dump trucked people. I mean, the way they have looked, you go, yeah, they're real. They're a good football team. And admittedly, I think we're a little Indiana biased. Yeah, I know you love the story. I love the story. But in a black and white world, from a metrics perspective, they don't have a signature win. And their only opportunity to get one is going to Columbus to play Ohio State. Okay. So, like, in a lot of ways, they control their own narrative, because I think if they win that game, everybody goes, oh, see, they were a good football team. But I'm curious, if they lose, what does that do to them? Meaning, in the committee's eyes, if they lose by 2 touchdowns, does the committee go, oh, okay, yeah, they're not a top 12 team, even if they go 11-1? And then my question becomes, if that's the case, is the demarcation point between 11-1 Penn State and 11-1 Indiana how they lost to Ohio State, which is not going to be an apples-to-apples comparison, because Indiana has to play in the horseshoe versus Penn State loses in State College. Like, I don't know, man. I'm real interested about that. So I think that's something to follow. And yeah, man. And to that point, to your point, and I'm going to take this a step further. Do we really know who Ohio State and Oregon are outside of them playing each other? They are each other's only barometer thus far. No, I mean, dude, Boise State gave Oregon all they wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Look, we could talk about the ranking stuff and all the subjectivity of this for hours and hours on end, but I do think it is awesome from our perspective, from a talking season perspective, that even with the 12 team, we're still having all this, right? Which is awesome. Yeah. I mean, I love it.
I do want to talk about Indiana a little bit. If Indiana goes into Columbus and they get the doors blown off of them,
I think they're out.
I think they're out.
Agreed.
And especially because I think there's a good chance there's 5, maybe 6, 10-2 SEC teams.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I'm also very curious of how the committee is going to play, especially based off of Sankey's idiotic comments yesterday, how they're going to play the situation if Alabama goes to the SEC championship game and loses, and they go 10-3.
Yeah.
How are they going to do that? Because they have punished the SEC championship game. They've punished the conference championship game loser multiple times. It's really only affected the SEC championship game loser.
Timeout. They've punished the SEC championship game loser when it's been who?
Georgia.
Correct. Okay. I just want to clarify that. It has not been a global SEC punishment.
Well, I mean, who else has it been?
That's what I'm saying, though.
LSU didn't have a shot to get in the playoffs when we played them unless it was unless they won. Actually, they had 3 losses already. I'm not sure they would have gotten in if they won that year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
always been, we never had the situation where we beat Bama to find out if Bama would have still gotten in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
so I don't let me save you some suspense. They would have.
I don't know if they would have gotten in 21. I don't know if they would have gotten in 21.
Yeah. That one probably is a little different. But here's the thing. Absent them playing in the SEC title game, they wouldn't have gotten in.
That's true. That is true.
So like, I think that's a little bit different. Whereas
they needed that extra data point to get in.
Yeah, exactly. That was the data point that got them in that year. And obviously that was the case last year. They weren't going to get in the playoff absent. They weren't even, I would say they weren't even realistically in the conversation until they beat Georgia in that game. But I just think from an equitable perspective, there is no world, and you and I have talked about this a bunch, there is no world where Bama's number 1 and undefeated and loses to Georgia in the SEC title game and they're dropped to 6th and out of the playoffs. It would not have happened. Like, like 2018 when Georgia went in and everybody had crowned Alabama as like the greatest team of all time. Yeah. Like, oh my God, this is the greatest team ever. Nobody can touch them. And then Georgia almost wins. If Alabama had lost that game, they are undoubtedly still in the 4.
They probably would have fallen to 3 at best. Probably 2. Let's be realistic.
So I think that's part of all this. But look, it is what it is. Okay. I mean, that's all brand and bias, and that's part of the human equation. So I don't have a terrible problem with any of that. Because again, if you go out and take care of your own business, none of that matters. You're in. And so you want to do inside your own house, you want to take care of you want to control your controllables. That's what you want to do. And so the on-field product and winning your games is your controllable. And thus far, Georgia has not done that. And so they got an opportunity Saturday to do that. And that's why for me, man, whatever happens, win or lose, I'll be at peace with them either going to the playoffs or not going to the playoffs because, dude, they've had plenty of sample size to figure it out, and they've been tested. And so, yeah, the playoff thing's going to be wild to watch it all unfold. I think Miami losing and then SMU doing what they're doing has created some interesting conversations. Like I didn't think the committee had a very good answer on. So hold on, what's the difference between Miami and SMU? Why is Miami still ranked higher than SMU? And they essentially said, without saying, well, Miami has Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I mean, that's That's it. And that's essentially been their argument for Miami all year. Yeah, they probably stink, but they got the best player in America. So we're just going to keep them in the top 12.
Yeah, the committee is great to give us all these arguments. And part of me wonders if they do this on purpose to create the discussion. But I don't understand the rankings. I don't understand most of the rankings, and I don't understand the rankings down below a lot too. Like they justify head to head so much everywhere else, and then you get down to South Carolina and LSU, and South Carolina is ahead of LSU by 1. Like those two should be flip. Like they're not consistent anywhere across the board. Yeah. If there was transparency, if there was consistency, fine, but there's not. And it's not that it's not consistent from year to year. It's not consistent from week to week. Yeah, that's the biggest issue I have.
And that's every year. Every year, man. It's just they just want to justify the list, and so they'll use what they've got to use to justify the list. But
whatever metric it is this week.
Yeah. Dude, you bring up South Carolina. They're interesting, man. They play Mizzou this week at home. I think they are going to, put a whooping on Mizzou. I think that South Carolina team is ascending most importantly, because I think they believe in each other. They're an interesting team because they've got a dynamic talent on defense. They've got a quarterback who is evolving and who you can tell they are believing in. And they have every opportunity, I think, to finish 9-3. And they will be, in my eyes, if they do that, they will be the most interesting 9-3 team in the country. Because if you look at how they've played, and I think if you put some perspective around things, and you look at that actual LSU game, look, homie, I live in South Carolina. Let's just say that the South Carolina fan base has not let that game go yet. Okay? They feel like that was taken from them. And so, that is the difference between them inside the playoff bubble and outside the playoff bubble, is that ball game currently. Because if they're 7-2 right now, they are very much in the conversation, which is crazy to think about.
This has been their best team since the Garcia-Lattimore years. Since Spurrier, by far. And it's not just that they're a good team. They pass the eye test. They are fun to watch. So it's one of those things too. So the committee likes that term, the eye test. They're one of those that pass the eye test. I think that they're, going to jump substantially because I think they're going to dump truck Mizzou. Mizzou has looked just terrible. Yeah, they've looked bad all year. They look bad. We still don't understand why they're ranked. Like, I think that they're ranked strictly to prop up Alabama. Still, I said that last week. Still say that again this week. They might be the worst. I think are they 7-2?
7.
Yeah, they're 7-2. They might be the worst 7-2 team in America.
Yeah, they are. Well, and they're just incompetent on offense. They are a mess on offense. And look, I know Brady Cook's been injured, but even before Brady Cook got injured, they were a mess.
Before Brady Cook got injured,
yeah. They're just they're an interesting case. I don't get that because they had so much of that receiving weaponry back, and then they still had Brady Cook, and they've just been off all season. And so, that is a game I think South Carolina is going to punish them on Saturday at Willie B. Like, that's one of the games I put on our list to talk about, but that's where I'm at on that. I think SC comes out, dump trucks them, and then they're counting down to their game against Clemson as their last kind of showcase. But I just think they're on the outside looking in regardless if they're 9-3 or not. I just think they're right there on that fringe, man, which is just going to make SC fans even more salty. Because I'm just telling you, homie, we're in November. That game was what, like week 2, week 3? Week 3. Yeah. And they are salty as a Lay's potato chip about it still. So, and look, probably justifiably so, okay? Because you got a close loss in Tuscaloosa against Alabama, which they could have won that ball game. And then you've got what? Well, Ole Miss blew the doors off of them. But that really doesn't, I don't think, look as bad now because everybody's all over Ole Miss now. So, yeah, that's tough. That's tough if you're a South Carolina fan. 9-3, just right on the fringe. And I think, too, this is the other thing, which is always is and was going to be inequitable at the playoff conversation, you could make an argument that they're probably one of the best 12 teams in America, given their schedule and given the on-field product. But that's not really the conversation. And so, because you could make an argument, well, dude, they would beat Boise State on a neutral field. Yeah, they probably would. Or they would beat Penn State on a neutral field. And you're like, yeah, I could see that. And so that's the tough part about the thing, which is why I do think eventually, as you and I have always talked about, it's going to get expanded.
Yeah.
Like
we're going to end up with 24.
Yeah. Which, hey, look, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
We are not the norm because we're FCS guys.
Yeah, exactly. I'm perfectly fine with 24. I think that's where it's got to be capped, though. I don't think we go any bigger than what the FCS does. If it goes bigger than that, I think if we go bigger than that, we're going too much into, at that point, if we go bigger, we might as well just do with the basketball tournament at that point. Like, it's just getting too much.
Even at 24, which I know that's what FCS does, but, dude, FCS also starts the weekend after Thanksgiving. And so
they don't have conference championship games.
No conference championship games. There's less TV money involved. I mean, look, our argument has always been every single level of football across America, except for the bowl subdivision, does a playoff system. Like, it's always been so dumb to me that we just said, oh yeah, we're just not going to do that for the highest level of college football. But so that's why I've always been a fan of it. And you and I have seen it in practice with the FCS level, and it's great. But the other difference is, dude, they stay on home campuses all the way until the title game. So like, there's so many different, I think, levers in play between those two systems. So even if they did go to 24 at this level, I'm curious how they would maneuver it, because we're now not finishing until January 20th, which seems insane to me. I mean, that's wild. And the other piece of it that I don't love, which you always knew was going to come into play, is they don't want to tussle with the NFL. And because of their broadcast partners, they won't tussle with the NFL. And so now we're playing college football on Thursday and Friday nights, which I hate. I just hate it. Like, college football should be played on Saturdays. Put it in all capital letters.
Yeah. One of my big issues with it is because we're FCS guys, is now this is going to take away from the few eyes that when FCS gets to showcase themselves on Thursday and Friday nights, this is their, in their playoffs. Yeah. So the FBS is now going to take away from that. Yep.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Even from a TV perspective, because those were the dry spells where you go, well, there's no football and I'll watch the FCS playoffs. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's real. Well, hey, let's talk about the other games this week, because there's some fun ones, in my opinion, even though there's not a ton of rank-on-rank stuff. I think Mizzou, South Carolina, other than the Tennessee UGA game, is the only rank-on-rank the whole weekend. Yep. But I'm going to throw some at you that are, dude, they're at the top of my list. And I'm going to give you the first one, and you're going to laugh. Let me tell you what my game of the week is.
Oh, boy.
Okay? Boise State is traveling to play San Jose State.
I knew it. I just pulled that up, and I was like, this is what he's going to talk about.
I love this game. God, I love this game. I'm going to take you down just the rabbit hole of all rabbit holes, my friend.
Oh, here we go.
Do you know? Well, first off, let's start here. Boise State's quarterback may have the most electric name in all of college football that nobody talks about. Do you know what his name is?
His last name's like Madden. Isn't his last name Madsen? Madsen. Okay.
Maddox Madsen.
Wow, that's a name.
Homie, that is EA Sports create a player name right there.
Yeah, like, that is.
That's not real life. Excellent name. His parents, standing ovation. That's an outstanding name. You can tell they did the public address announcer test when they were figuring out names. And they went, oh, yeah, this is going to sound good in front of about 65,000 people. I mean, excellent foresight on their part.
And then we got Doc Brown on the other side.
Oh, yes. But he's not playing now.
Oh, he's not?
Yeah, so they got a new quarterback now. They started this kid, what's his name? Walker. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's Eget. Eget. I guess is how you'd say. I don't know. But he threw for almost 400 yards against Oregon State last week. So, but this is where I'm going to take you with it, okay? Number one, they have the best wide receiver in all of America. What's the kid's name? Nick Nash. Yeah. Dude, Nick Nash leads America
Holy crap.
every single receiving category that is out there, right? And it's not real close. And part of the reason that he leads America with so many catches, so many yards, so many touchdowns is because of their offensive coordinator, which is a cat named Craig Stutzmann. Love Craig Stutzmann. I'll tell you here's a little behind the curtain. Try to get people to come on to get interviewed every once in a while. So this summer, I was like, you know what? It'd be cool to get some coaches on that like people don't really know about that are not head coaches, but guys that I think are influencing the college game. Homie, I reached out to Craig Stutzmann like 3 different times because I wanted him to come on the show and talk about offense. Do you know what his offense is called?
Mm-mm.
The spread and shred. Are you kidding me right now? Put it on a t-shirt and get it on a billboard. Like,
that's awesome.
Come on. The spread and shred. Also, dude, we're talking about the head coach of San Jose State is Ken Niumatalolo, who is dude, he ran the triple option for 2 decades.
Yeah,
and now they're running the spread and shred. God, I love America. This is the greatest sport ever. So, all right, let me take you. I'm gonna take you some more backstory on Craig Stutzmann and the spread and shred. Okay, guess where he coached when he was first getting into college coaching. I've told you this before, so this is a great pull.
Is it somewhere in Virginia?
Yes. Southwest Virginia specifically.
Southwest Virginia.
Oh yeah, I'm about to drop one.
Is it Emory? Is it Emory?
Emory and
yeah. Emory and Henry?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Coach Jones' alma mater. So our high school coach went to this really small D3 school in Virginia called Emory and Henry, and Craig Stutzmann in 2014 coached there at Emory and Henry. Dude's got a cool path. So he's Hawaiian, and he went to St. Louis High School in Hawaii, and dude had a good career there. Well, he went back when he was starting his coaching career to coach high school, and he's coaching at St. Louis High School. Guess who his quarterback was when he was coaching at St. Louis High School?
Tua?
Future Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Mariota.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So when you're sitting at the bar with everybody this weekend, nobody's paying attention, and they're down in their pitchers, and the San Jose State, Boise State comes on, folks, you drop all that on them. That's all the knowledge you didn't know you needed about Craig Stutzmann, San Jose State, and the mighty, mighty Spartans spread and shred offense. And to Jimmy's point, their backup quarterback, who was their starting quarterback, dude, his name is Emmett Brown. He is legitimately the inventor of the flux capacitor. He is what made time travel possible.
We are really aging ourselves today.
I texted you and I said, they are screwing this up. They should rename their offense the flux capacitor offense as long as he is the quarterback. Don't let them boys hit 88 now. There's going to be trouble. Yeah. So anyways, that's my favorite game of the day, and it's really not close. I like it almost as much as I like the Georgia-Tennessee game. And I'm really not being disingenuous when I tell you that. Like, I am as excited to watch that one as I am to watch any all day tomorrow. All right, I'm going to throw a couple of other ones at you. I think there's a fun noon window. All games that I don't think anybody's probably really talking about, but are a lot of fun. I'm going to go a small conference again with you, and I'm going to go Tulane at Navy, okay?
Yeah, that is a fun one.
Fun one because Tulane has been putting up a ton of points. Navy's obviously had a good year and then stumbled post Notre Dame. They're 1-2 since the Notre Dame game, I think, or maybe 0-2. No, 1-2. They won last week.
They won last week.
But so here's the deal: if Navy wins, they still put themselves right back into the AAC championship game where they could play Army if Army takes care of their business, because they would be Tulane's first American loss, and Navy would only have the one American loss. Which, how did they lose that game? That had to be like you got beat twice by Notre Dame, right?
It was a huge hangover. Had to be
hangover. Yeah, I think so too, man. Because that Notre Dame game, would they have 6 turnovers or something? I mean, that is the ultimate what if game where you go, we didn't even really get to show who we were. Like, we just continually shot ourselves in the foot all day. So yeah, that's a super fun game, I think, because that American's been a fun conference. And because the American is very much like the SEC, where there's too many teams, so not everybody gets to play each other, there's going to be multiple teams that could have 1 and or 0 losses in the American race. So, like, that path to the title game, who knows? Army has the straightest path. Tulane does too. If Army and Tulane both win out, they're in. That's it. End of conversation. And so if you're the American, I think that's what you want to happen. Which, how awesome would it be for Tulane to have to travel to West Point for a Friday night game in December on the banks of the Hudson River? Awesome.
Might be
that
a
is
blizzard.
That is also, I will tell you, now I haven't been to tons and tons of college football stadiums, but I've been to enough to have this opinion. It is top 5 college football stadiums in America for me. It is magnificent. That campus is unparalleled. Like, it sits on a huge bluff over top the Hudson River. The whole campus is built up there. You know, dude, it was a fort.
Yeah.
And so it was oh man, it's awesome. It's one of my favorite campuses in the whole country. Now, I was there in August, so maybe my opinion would change if I was there in like January, because I'm sure it is just unbearably
frigid.
cold. Yes, frigid. So speaking of that, okay, let's talk about this. I'm going to spin this in a way. There's no way you're going to expect where I'm going to spin this, okay?
Oh, boy.
Let's say, because, you know, your boys have been doing a little underdog fantasy this fall and having different fantasy games that we've been playing. And there's higher, lower totals in here, which we admittedly love. What if game temps were a higher, lower that you could pick on the app? So you go Army playing at home in December, 8 o'clock at night. Are we going higher kickoff temp time at 28 degrees or lower? Like, dude, that's some action I could get in on. I mean, that's a very how long will the national anthem be, higher or lower, that I could very much get convinced on. So look, I'm not a very smart man, but if Underdog Fantasy wants to take any suggestions, let's just say that your boys would be happy to play games of that nature, in addition to the ones that we currently play, where I think now one of the ones I'm very interested in is we're going to maybe look at the higher lower on Nate Frazier's rushing total, because I think he's going to be highly featured on Saturday night. So I think that's one we might dabble in. That's a game we may play this coming Saturday, just to have a little bit of, just to have a little extra eye on a game that we're already keenly interested in. And look, one of the reasons we love Underdog is making picks on Underdog Fantasy is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. You can sign up with our promo code SAP, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SAP, to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. You must be 18 or older, 19 or older if you're in Alabama or Nebraska, and 19 or older in Colorado for some games. You must be 21 or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and you must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. The offer is void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. If you're in Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, 1-800-639-8783, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. If you are in New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NEW-YORK, or text Hope New York 467-369. I want to give you another one in this noon window that's interesting. Utah at Colorado. Utah obviously had a very, very tough outcome in the Holy War last weekend. If you talk to that fan base, much like the South Carolina fan base, probably still very salty. And I get that. The thing I think is, dude, Colorado, which I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud given how it was last year, feels like the team nobody is talking about. And they are squarely in this thing, dude. Like, they now control their own destiny. If they win out, they are going to the Big 12 title game. And if they win the Big 12 title game, they are in the playoffs. In the playoffs. electric. I kind of want it to happen. Almost need it to happen. Dion in the playoffs? Come on. That is, I mean, entertainment at its finest. So, yeah, plus they got the Heisman Trophy winner. I'm at the point now, he's healthy enough, he's played enough. If Travis Hunter's not the Heisman Trophy winner, we're all idiots. I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, and it really realistically based off the schedule, if they win this week, they're in the Big 12 title game. I mean, I'm
gonna throw one at you for them. You know who they still got on the schedule?
Kansas.
Yeah, I got that on the list too. That's a little 10 p.m. kickoff tickler I was going to talk to you about. Let me talk to you about Kansas, okay? Hold on a second. I ain't done talking to you about Colorado yet.
Yeah, let's talk about Colorado. Then we'll get. What
time are they kicking off? Local time.
What, Kansas BYU?
No.
Oh,
Utah,
Colorado. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Oh my, it's awful. That is that's the big noon kickoff this week.
Dude, is it awful though? I kind of think it'd be awesome one time. Like, I think if you're a Colorado student, you just go straight from downtown Boulder right to the tailgate. Like,
just stay up all night.
Stay up all night. No breaks. We're going straight through, baby. Drink like a champion.
Yeah, I mean, when you're young, you can do that. So
a 10 a.m. kick, dude. When I was 18 to 22, 10 a.m. wasn't even approaching when I was thinking about waking up.
I know.
10 a.m. No chance. Like that is that's tough though. I mean, even from a playing perspective, because look, think about that. All right, let's subtract back. 10 a.m. What's their wake up call at the hotel? 6 at least, right?
Probably earlier than that.
Probably earlier than that. Probably 5.
Probably 5.
They probably get to eat breakfast at 6. Go to the facility. Because they're probably like most teams in America. They're staying in a hotel tonight. So they'll have 5 a.m., 5:30 wake up call, 6 o'clock breakfast, something like that. They got to be at the field by 7, I would think. Yeah. Well, okay, let's say first bus gets to the field at 7. Your specialists, probably quarterbacks, coaching staff. I don't know. That'd be an interesting question to ask different guys that have played. What's the bus schedule? Are there different buses? Like I know in the pros there are different buses. I wonder if college is the same or if it's all one bus system. Like Georgia comes all at one time.
Yeah.
But I know in the NFL they do waves. Like you take first bus, second bus, third bus. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm interested in that. Because, dude, that's a quick start.
Yeah. No thanks. That would be awful.
Oh, I wouldn't want to. I don't know if I'd want to play it. 10 o'clock would stink. Although, you'd be done at 1. Day. You go rest your day. You'd be done at 1 o'clock, which in college would have been very appealing to me.
Yeah. Like as a player, I think it'd be nice, get the rest of your day off.
Plus, man, then you're just ripping it, especially if you win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be awful if you lost.
Awful. Oh, yeah. Awful. Yeah, no, that would not be good. That's an interesting matchup. Although that Utah team, I think that was a pure home field rivalry matchup juice type thing for Utah. I think the long and short is they stink. Their offense stinks.
I think that they're just at this point it's just playing out the season. I think Whittingham's going to retire at the end of the year. I think don't get me wrong. I'm glad that the AD came out and said what he said because most people don't say what every fan thinks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy that finally an AD had the balls to do it.
Yep.
But I think that, because of the way this season's played out, he may not be there next year. So, and Whittingham, I almost guarantee will not be there next year. So I think that they're just kind of writing out the year. And the way that they lost that game, they're going to have a huge hangover this week. Yeah. Colorado probably is going to roll in this. And I mean, like I said, their next 2 games, Colorado's probably going to roll into the Big 12 title game.
I think the other piece of this, Colorado's in a spot now where every game matters. Not that they didn't before, but you know what I'm saying. They now know, hey, look, we win, we're in. Like, all we got to do is win, which I think is awesome. Georgia's in the same spot. We win, we're in. There's power in that. Motivating power, I would think. So, yeah, man, I think that's a fun game, just given the start time. I'm throwing another one at you in the noon window, which maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but Texas got to travel to Arkansas and play the Razorbacks. And I know that Arkansas got the doors blown off by Ole Miss, and Texas probably has that same capability, but it's a noon kick. So it'd be 11 o'clock local kick on the road. Texas hasn't really had a true road game. I know they went to Vandy, and I'm going to get shot for saying this, but dude, Vandy ain't no true road game. Even when they're playing good football, that ain't a true road game. So they're going to play in a hostile environment for the first time all season. It's going to be compelling to see how they respond, I think. I do think Quinn is healthy now, though, and I think they're different when he's healthy. So we'll see. But Arkansas's got enough weapons, I think, to throw a little fly in the ointment. So, yeah. Am I wrong?
I just don't know what
is
Texas.
It not?
I don't know what Texas is. I mean, who is Texas' best win right now is Vandy. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Like Texas and Penn State to me are very similar right now. Like they don't have a quality win. They have a quality loss.
You could also argue that Penn State has the better home loss.
Yeah, they do.
Which is crazy. Because they should have won that football game. What did they have? Twice that they were inside the 10 and didn't score a touchdown?
I know they were. I know one was inside the 10. I'm not sure if the other one got inside the 10. I know it was in the red zone.
Yeah, that offense not good, man. Their offense is not good.
So, but I mean, all right. Either way.
Yeah. Well, let me talk to you about. We mentioned it earlier. I want to talk to you about this KU BYU game. Okay. If I was a BYU fan, I'm just going to tell you, this game would make me very nervous. You know what Kansas' record is?
3-5, 3-6.
3-6. Okay, 3-6, and I think everybody across America, it's same old Kansas, not a good football team. Au contraire, my friend. They have some offensive weapons, and 5 of their 6 losses are by 6 points or less. So, dude, legitimately, they are one play away in 5 games from sitting here right now in the playoff conversation. Okay? So if I was BYU, that game would make me nervous because, and this isn't just a shoulda, coulda, woulda, and all those things with KU. I'm just telling you from a Jimmy's and Joe's perspective. They got weapons, man. Jalen Daniels is real. Devin Neal is real. And so they're going to stretch that BYU team a little bit, I think. And I'm just telling y'all, don't turn your TV off come 10 o'clock on Saturday night. Tune in. I think there's going to be some interesting things going on. Also, dude, their 6th loss, they lost to TCU, and I think they lost by like 8 points. So every single game, in theory, is 1-ish possessions for them, for their 6 losses.
Well, we always say that there's a reason Vegas makes the big bucks. It's only a 2.5-point spread.
Mm-hmm.
And BYU's at home. So basically they're saying on a neutral field, this is a toss-up.
Neutral field toss-up. And I'm right there with them, man. This is one of those you circle in red and go, ooh, boy, spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think there's I'm real interested in that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I mean, Kansas has enough weapons to make this interesting. I'm more interested to see how. I mean, definitely, I think the Kansas is going to score points. I'm more interested to see how their defense is going to play.
Yeah, 100%. Yes,
because their defense has been a sieve.
Yeah, and more importantly, and Frank talked about this when he was on the show like a month ago. But the reason that they've lost those games is because they have played undisciplined, and so. That's been the difference is can they not be penalized? Can they not make silly turnovers, all these type of things? And so that'll be the difference maker. It's not a talent problem for KU. It's they just haven't played clean football. And so, but again, that's why I would be nervous.
Yeah. If they put it together.
You go, oh, talent-wise, there's no issues here. And so that would make me nervous. Plus, I think they had a win last week where they feel like, oh, yeah, we finally put it together and this is what we can do, which they still have a path to bowl eligibility. So they're not in mail-it-in mode yet. And so, yeah, man, let's just say I think that's going to be a fun one. So, again, man, that's the slate for me. It's a lot of fun matchups if you are into college football and not just like TV advertising rankings chasing, like there are some really cool matchups this weekend that are going to directly affect the postseason. And so, man, it's going to be fun. Oh, I can't believe I didn't lead the show this way. I am departing in like 11 hours for Athens, Georgia.
Oh, what?
I was so excited to talk to you about all of this. I buried the lead of all of it. I'm going to. I will be in Athens. Do I have?
You'll
a ticket
be
yet?
there. Well,
do I have a ticket yet? Nope. But I will be in the Classic City.
kind of left something out there, but
yeah. So Uncle Chris and I made the executive decision last night at like 6:30 that we're wheels down to Athens. So I am gonna work today, and then I am going to the Classic City and have a full day. I got to post up somewhere and watch some of these games because that noon slate, I want to be locked in. Might go. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Oh,
and
have fun, man. That
very much your weather profile too.
Oh man, it looks awesome. Yeah, it does look good.
Going to be crisp.
Hey, that's how I like it. That's short weather for me.
Chris, I know it's 100% short weather for you. I'll probably wear tights underneath my jeans. That's like the freezing point for me is 50. Yeah.
How are you going to survive this trip to Madison?
I don't know, dude. I've already looked at the 10-day, and it's going to be so cold. So cold.
Well,
and,
that is actually
Madison,
for me.
Madison sits directly on the lake, and so I know it's going to be windy. It's going to be so cold. Oh, my God, it's going to be cold. Dude, that's 2 weeks away. Huh? 2 weeks from that trip.
2 weeks.
Like 2 weeks from this moment, we'll be outside of Camp Randall Stadium.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Crazy. Oh, my God. I am beyond excited.
So, most important thing, though, is we've only got 3 weeks left to enjoy this season before the postseason.
I don't even want to think about that. Yeah, that is
I want to just kind of soak it in a little bit because this season has gone by so fast. Like, I just kind of want to. And the dog season has kind of been a
grind.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I don't feel like the college football season has been a grind. The college football season has been so much fun.
Oh God, it's been awesome. Yeah, it is the fastest moving college football season in my memory. I don't ever remember a season feeling like it evaporated as quickly as this one did. But
as you get older, don't you feel like each season gets a little faster?
Yeah, I do, because I felt like last year was gone before I knew it. And I definitely feel that way this year. I mean, dude, so much of this, man, with our lives and the way the kids are, like, there's just
you blink.
Oh my God, every week is like it's a race just to get to Saturday, and then it's like 3 hours of respite to watch a game, and then you're just back in the spin cycle again. And so, yeah, I do think it's an age thing for sure. Time, you have a different relationship with time when you get to be old and decrepit like we are. Yeah, for sure. Well, that's all I got, homie.
Yeah,
I hope you go out the rest of the weekend and spread the gospel of Craig Stutzmann and the spread and shred offense.
So spread and shred offense. Coach Marcus Mariota in high school, went to Emory, started his coaching career at Emory and Henry. Yep. Got it.
Yep. And if anybody wants to throw in flux capacitor offense, I wouldn't hate that either. I love that. Let's just have that catch on, please.
So
can you imagine the T-shirts with the picture of the flux capacitor, like with some San Jose State mixed in? Oh, dude.
That'd be awesome. Got the Spartan in the background with the flux capacitor on top
of it. Oh, just incredible. Yeah, 100%. College football time travel. That's something you could sell.
Yeah.
Let's go back to week 2.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's start it all over.
Yeah.
Better weather too.
That's right. Better weather. All right, homie. Well, I will be in contact with you all day tomorrow and shoot some fun content. Yeah, I think that's part of it too. I'm going to try to take some cool video of the scene tomorrow and all that kind of stuff. Might even force my boy over here into a live show directly from campus as I'm walking through. How you feel about that?
It works for me, man.
Yeah, might do it. Depending on how I'm feeling. What do the kids say? Felt cute. Might delete later. Maybe we'll do that.
God. Don't ever say that again.
Can you tell I have adolescent girls? Felt cute. Might delete later.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay. Have we jumped the shark? Is it time to go?
It's time to go.
It's time to go. Okay, good. All right, brother. Well, it's a big one this weekend. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.